Hi everyone, welcome to my first tutorial video. In this video, we'll be learning how to make this alternate sundress. I think it's perfect for like the summer, rooftop brunch, outdoors, sun. And yes, I know it's the winter, but that's neither here nor there. Anyways, let's get straight into the video. When it comes to materials, you're going to need about 2 to 3 yards of fabric. If you're a size small or a medium, I would recommend 2.5 yards of fabric because that's what I used. If you're on the bigger side, like a large, I would say 3 yards. If it's like extra large or more, just keep going by 0.5 yards. Also, you're going to need a zipper and the regular thread, scissors, tape measure, ruler. So let's get into the real thing. There are 3 parts of this dress. There's the upper body with the straps, the waistband, and the bottom, or like the skirt. We're going to start with the upper body and straps. Now, if you have a lot of fabric, you can cut it as one piece, but I didn't, so I made the upper body part, like the part that covers the bust, and then I added the straps, just because I had to maneuver my fabric. To guesstimate how wide each cup should be, I'm just going to call each part a cup. You're going to need your underbust measurement. My underbust was 29 inches. Now remember, this dress doesn't go all the way around, it's only in the front, so go ahead and divide it by 2. I got 14.5 inches, and because we're only calculating for 1 cup, so one side, go ahead and divide it by 2 again, and that gives you 7.25 inches. To calculate the height of this part, you're going to measure your shoulder to your underbust. I got 15 inches, and then for the top, that's going to be like how wide you want the strap to be. I went for 3 inches. If you want something thinner, you can go for 2 inches, and then you're pretty much just going to connect the top to the bottom, like just draw a diagonal line. I didn't calculate that. For the strap, I made mine 20 inches long, and you want to make sure that the width of the top of the cup matches with the width of the strap because we're going to join them together. Now that we're done calculating, let's get to the actual fabric. You're going to go ahead and fold your fabric into 4 sides because remember, we need 4 pieces of each part. So fold it into 4 and then go ahead and draw that onto your fabric. I forgot to get a video of this, but you need to add a seam allowance. So I added just 1 centimeter to each side, but I didn't put it on camera. But don't forget to add your seam allowance and then cut it out. And then you're going to do the same thing for the strap. Measure the drawing onto the fabric and cut it out. And do not forget your seam allowance. I think I remember to do it here. Do not forget your seam allowance. If not, you're going to take out of the measurement of the actual dress and it's not going to fit. You can go ahead and put that to the side. We're going to move on to drafting the waistband. For this part, the measurements you're going to need are your underbust and your lower waist. So for my underbust, I still have 29 inches. For the lower waist, I'll say that's around where your stomach is 33 inches. And then you want to measure the distance between your underbust and your lower waist, which for me is 4 inches. Now, because this waistband has a little bit of that like V-shaped thing at the top and at the bottom, I am going to add 1.25 inches. You can choose to make it as long as you want, but I went for 1.25 inches because I wanted it to be like subtle but still present. When you add that together, it gives us 6.5 inches. So my waistband is going to be 6.5 inches tall. Now this part, the fabric is going to be folded, so I'm going to be calculating my measurement in half. So times 2 will get me the full thing when I unfold it. Since my underbust measurement is 29 inches divided by 2, that gives me 14.5 for the top, and the bottom 33 divided by 2 gives me 16.5 inches at the bottom. Now I personally drew a line at the top and measured 14.5 inches, drew a line at the bottom, measured 16.5 inches. Then you're going to find the half point from 14.5, which is 7.25 inches, and the half point from 16.5, which is 8.25 inches. You're going to find the half point on your line from the fold, and you're just going to draw a diagonal line connecting the bottom of the fold to that half point, and you're going to do that at the top too. And then at the end of the line, you're going to connect the end of that 14.5 line to the end of the 16.5 line. It is not supposed to be a straight line because your body is not a perfect circle. So it needs to have that slope so it can curve and stay on your body the way it needs to stay. Y'all, please forgive me. I did not get a video of myself cutting the fabric, but this is what it would look like when you're done. When you unfold it, it should be the length of the entire waistband. I cut out 2 pieces of this, so if you folded your fabric, you will just need to cut it twice. The hard part is almost over. Let's get into the bottom or the skirt. First things first, the width of the skirt, it has to be the exact same length as the width of your lower stomach because we are connecting those 2 pieces together. So mine was 33, I'm keeping the same 33 inches. So now we're going to do some skirt math. This is a half circle skirt, so you're going to get your waist measurement divided by pi. The waist measurement is 33 inches divided by 3.14, which gives me 10.51 inches. Now on your fabric, you're going to measure that 10.51 inches across in straight lines, and when you connect them all together, I got 16.5 inches, which is my waist divided by 2. And that is because for a half circle skirt, you folded your fabric into 2, and this is what you measured. So it should be half of your waist measurement. And then you're going to measure how long you want your skirt to be and do the same thing across. And when you join it together, when you unfold that fabric after cutting it out, your skirt will be that length. Now let me show you what that looks like on fabric. Get your fabric out, fold it into 2. At the edge of that fold, you are going to begin to measure whatever you got from your waist divided by pi. So I'm measuring out 10.5 inches from that angle onto the fabric to wherever it gets to. And then when you have all your points, you are going to join those points together into this curve. And when you measure that curve, I would say check it before you cut. Measure that curve and make sure that it is approximately half of your waist. And then you're going to go on, and it seems like I chose 16 inches actually. And then you're going to measure out 16 inches from the waist, not from the top, from the waist. You measure out 16 inches, do the points just like you did earlier, and connect those dots. When you cut it out and unfold it, you should have a skirt that looks like this. The hard part is officially over, and if you're enjoying this tutorial so far, do not forget to subscribe or like this video or share it with your friends. Now you're going to get the upper body pieces. Make sure you place the fabric the right side facing because we're going to flip this inside out. And then you sew only across the sides. Do not sew the top together, do not sew the bottom together, only sew the sides together. You're going to do the same thing for the straps. Put the right side facing each other, pin the fabric together, and you are going to sew across the sides and the top. Choose just one part that you're going to sew together because you need to leave one open for you to pull the fabric out of. When you're done sewing the upper body sides together, you're going to go ahead and flip it inside out, and this is what you should have. Also, do not forget to iron while you sew because it just makes your work look neater in general. Like I said earlier, you should have the front part open and the bottom part open. We'll get back to the straps in a bit, but you're going to go ahead and grab your waistband. I ironed the edges because it makes it easier to do this part. So just go ahead and iron out the seam allowance. So the 1 centimeter you added in the beginning, go ahead and just iron that so that when we sew it's smooth. Now grab the upper body pieces and place them in the middle of the waistband, and you just want to spend your time making sure everything is aligned properly and it looks good. I lost the entire footage of this part. I basically pinned it together and stitched on top just like this. And when you stitch all of that together, you should end up with something that looks like this. Now we're going to revisit that strap. Take the top of the upper body part and fold it inside so it's like neat when you look at it on the outside. Fold it inside and iron it. When you iron it, it stays in place so that when you're sewing, you don't have to stress about that. So iron one side, make sure you get the other side and insert the straps and pin it. And then you're going to do the same thing on the other side, and you want to sew over it. Now we're completely done with the entire upper body. You're going to go ahead and grab the skirt, and just the way we inserted the upper body into the waistband, you're going to do the exact same thing for the skirt. Pin it together and sew on top of it. When you're done sewing, this is what you should have, and you can see the dress is fully formed. We're ready to go into the finishing touches. Now you want to align the open parts of the fabric, which is going to serve as the back of this dress, and pin it together. I chose for my zip to be about 8 inches long, but you can choose for it to be longer. I would not advise for you to make it shorter. Once you're done pinning it together, go ahead and sew what's left. Just sew down the straight line. Once you sew that together, I like to iron it out because, like I said, it gives it this very neat professional look, and it also makes the zip installation of that part easier. I used an invisible zipper, and a trick I've learned to do the perfect invisible zip is, if you look closely, you can see this little opening where the zip naturally folds onto. You're going to spread that open, and with your iron, you're going to smooth it out to where it's not folded anymore and it's straight, just like this. And you can see the difference between the one that's ironed and the one that's not ironed. Now you should have your dress turned inside out, and you're going to attach the front of the zipper to the front of the dress while the dress is inside out. I usually pin the zip onto the dress, and then I use a needle and thread, preferably with a color that contrasts whatever the color of the dress is, and you're just going to sew it because it's harder to sew on a zip. So sew it down in the exact spot that you want your zipper to be, and you should have this. Now you definitely want to use your zipper photo. The regular one would not do the job. Make sure your needle is right by the line of the zip. Sew as close as possible without sewing on your zipper. When you sew the first side all the way down, go ahead and try the zip to make sure that it works and you did not make a mistake. Once you're done with that, do the other side. Once you sew the other side, your zip should be functional at this point. You are going to decide on where you want your zipper to end, and just go ahead and stitch over it like I did in the video. And when you're satisfied with it, just cut it off. For the upper part of the zip, I just folded the zip into the seam allowance and used a needle and thread to sew it down. That worked for me. If you follow those steps, you end up with a perfect zip install that looks like this. For the bottom of the dress, which is our last step, I folded the dress in twice. So I did 1/2 centimeter and 1/2 centimeter, and I folded it twice. I ironed it so it would stay while I sew it. And once you fold that, you're just going to sew on top of it, and you should end up with this. Thank you for watching this tutorial. I hope your dress comes out beautiful, and if you have any questions or comments, just drop it in the comment section. I'll try my best to keep up with that. And if you do end up making this outfit, I would like to see it, so tag me on Instagram or TikTok or whatever. And yeah, I'll see you next time.